Yo, welcome to my channel, Ward Draws a Lot. Obviously I'm Ward, or I wouldn't have named it Ward Draws a Lot. Sorry in advance for my voice. I think I got a cold and I've now become Wade Draws a Lot instead of Ward Draws a Lot. So that's why my voice sounds way different right now. So because of this cold, my brain has been on the fritz and I've wanted to draw, but I've just been so lack of energy that I couldn't until maybe literally yesterday, where I was like, okay, I think we can do something because I really want to have fun instead of sit around. So once my brain finally cleared up, I was like, okay, wait, let's do that lineless art style that I always see. And I try and do digitally, but I can't because I suck at digital. So I was like, okay, let's do it traditionally. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so I'm wearing gloves, and the reason why is because I also have an allergic reaction that gives me hives, and I don't want you guys to see that because I don't really like looking at it myself, so there's that. Okay, we could finally discuss the drawing. I wanted to do something that I liked, while at the same time not something too complicated because, like I said earlier, I just want to have some fun after quite a few days of just my brain being in the clouds. So as always, I just drew a guy, and I tried making sure that he was as proportionate as possible, and I tried doing that through bringing the book up closer to my face and then looking at it from that point of view, because when you're looking at the point of view from the table as you're drawing, it could be distorted a little bit. So moving the paper sometimes helps you see what you need to fix that otherwise you wouldn't see if the paper was just on the desk itself. As for his design, I really wasn't thinking about what he should wear at that moment because my brain was just like, haha, man titty. So after a while of shutting off the camera and thinking about his actual outfit, I came up with something that I actually really liked and that I don't do often. So yeah. As for coloring his skin without any lines, and actually just coloring him in general without any lines, it was honestly so weird because I always have a black outline there to describe the facial feature. I think that's why a lot of people even use line art in the first place, is that it's there to help make a concrete image in your brain. But I guess that's what separates people like me who are usually illustrators versus someone who's a painter, where people who paint are taught usually to just go in without having to map out everything because the image is in their brain. I took an oil paint class, and that's basically what the teacher did to us, or told us to do, but I couldn't do that. My brain was like, no, I'm sketching this out, fuck you. What I did learn when doing this is that rendering is probably your best friend. So if you don't know what rendering is, I literally just googled up the definition because I wouldn't know how to explain it otherwise. It's the processing of an outline of an image using color and shading to make it appear solid and three-dimensional. In other words, filling up the empty space until it looks like something. I think that's what I basically broke that down to. Okay, so another thing that I think is extremely important during this entire process is knowing how to shade properly, because if you don't use enough dark tones, you won't get separation of certain colors in certain areas, and then it'll look like just one giant blob, and you don't want that. So for the skin tone, what I did was I used a purple to kind of help define the shading a little bit, so you could tell a difference between the neck and the head and even the side of the face. What did suck about this, I think the most, was that it was really intimidating to draw in a lineless style, if that makes any sense, because it feels like, at least with lines there, I personally would feel just more comfortable. So because it's out of my comfort zone, doing something like a lineless style felt more like a challenge right off the bat. So I think that's why it was a little nerve-wracking while I was doing it, but otherwise I was actually having a lot of fun because I never get to do something with a lineless style, mostly because I just don't think about it. I always see it online and how people do their work so awesome and stuff like that, but I never think, oh, I could do that too. But it goes to show a lot of the time that you don't know what you're good at or what you're going to be alright at until you try it. So I really like how I rendered stuff like his shirt and his outfit in general. I feel like that came out really well. I did mess up on the brown side of his hair, because originally it was supposed to be all blonde, but I messed up due to just, I think, just me being away from drawing for a week, so my brain was kind of stale and not thinking of how I should blend things together when it came to that. I think sometimes you just make a mistake, and it could be a lot of factors or reasons, but yeah. Oh, and for his outfit, I remember telling myself, okay, we're not going to use any grays, because I do that so much, and I even do that in my real life clothing, where I take a color and I balance it out with a type of gray, and by the time I finished coloring it, I didn't realize that I did use gray. Instead, I'm looking at the footage and I'm like, oh man, I actually ended up using a warm gray for the stripes. But I was like, it was either that or use black, which was way too dark, and it wouldn't look as soft with the rest of the drawing. So maybe it's a good thing I did use gray in the end anyway. As for everything else in the drawing, I think it looks really nice and cohesive. Oh, I liked how I used light purple for the white parts of the shirt instead of doing lines to kind of separate where wrinkles would be. Overall, I think he looks like really, really cute, and I love him. So yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, I love you. Bye.